Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. (31 to 35), please.
Sarvabhutastitam yo mam bhajatyekattvamastitaha sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mayi vartate atmaupam yena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mataha. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramadhi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Shri Bhagavanu vacha asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate.
We have a question here. We have been told about the three paths to reach the truth: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Where does meditation fit into the bigger picture? Is it the fourth path, or is it part of the above three paths? Suresh. Is Suresh here? Right. So, in fact, that was our portion to study today. So it's well that you've asked this. Now, before I explain what this question is all about, first of all, let's follow what we have done so far. We started this whole discussion saying that people have a choice in life. One is you function in the world as an end in itself, following the call of your own personality, which means you have physical demands, you have emotional demands, you have intellectual demands, and you go out into the world to satisfy these demands. Now, this is something you can do all your life. You have desires, you fulfill these desires, and as a result of which you find satisfaction. But what you may not realize is as you satisfy desires, fresh desires will come up, and you will need to satisfy them, and this can go on and on endlessly. In fact, the great Shankaracharya says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatareshan. You will go through this cycle of birth and death, endlessly trying to satisfy your desires. Now, this is one choice you can make. Or you ask yourself this question: why am I born a human being? What is so special about being a human being? What are we supposed to achieve in this life that we have got? It's an opportunity. And so the inquiry starts. Who am I? Who is this human being, essentially? And then we get on to this inquiry. We said such a person is called a yogi because he, like the person who's involved in the world, a bhogi, has a lot of desires. You've got a lot of aspirations, ambitions, demands, desires. All that remains the same. But with one difference, that is, you would want to know of life, the truth of life. So that puts you into a different direction. Thereafter, you use the same personality, the physical body, mind, and intellect. For what? To get back to your original state, in and through your duties and obligations in this world. So that is the difference between a bhogi who is involved in the world as an end in itself and a yogi who would treat the same opportunity, life, the same personality that you have to get back to your original state, using this as a means to an end. The end is to discover who you essentially are. So as the yogi progresses, he gets established in sannyasa, meaning you get established in the path. And if you still continue the disciplines, you will qualify to sit in the seat of meditation and realize your original self. So it's a whole journey. Now, how do you picture this whole journey? So up until the 26th, 7th verse, it's a whole lot of preparation that we have gone through. Now, without going into the details, this diagram that I'm going to put on the screen for you will help you understand how this path moves to the ultimate state. So take a look at this. You have these three words here: action, devotion, and knowledge. So they signify the three paths that are recommended: karma, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. So through your actions, through your emotions, and your understanding, knowledge, use this as a means to a higher purpose, not as an end in itself. So when you do that, you get to reduce your desires, not increase them. The difference is a bhogi will increase the desires. And when you increase the desires, you need to fulfill them, and you will be caught up in a whirlpool of desires. You can never get out of it, and that's why they refer to it as samsara. Samsara is entanglement, and everything is justified. You would naturally pursue your desires if you take it as an end in itself. But here's a person who's using the same personality, the same set of actions, whether it's actions, emotions, and thoughts, to do what? To find out the truth. So you reduce your desires, and as you keep reducing the desires, you come to a state where you can meditate. Because meditation is nothing but the intellect awareing the mind on single thought to the exclusion of all thoughts. I'll explain what I mean. To understand meditation, first of all, we've got to understand concentration. You know, you've seen these targets with concentric circles and a red dot in the center? Target. Now, when you learn to shoot, you could take a perfect stance, aim at the target, but you may not even hit the target because it needs a lot of stability to be able to aim and hit the target where you mean to hit. So it takes perhaps weeks, months, I really don't know, before one can take aim and shoot the target. Because there's a big excitement. I've hit it. I've hit what? The target. And then if you master target shooting, you come to a point where you hit the bullseye, but it is by chance you hit the bullseye. See, now you've trained yourself in such a way that when you take aim and shoot, you definitely hit somewhere on those concentric circles, but may not hit the bullseye. By chance, you hit bullseye. And then it takes a lot of training before you can take aim, mean to hit the bullseye, and hit it. You get the picture? So to be able to hit the target itself, if you take aim and you definitely hit the target, don't miss it, that is referred to as concentration. And when you hit bullseye each time, it is compared to meditation. And the reason is this. Concentration is the ability to keep your mind focused in a field of thoughts. Not one thought, in a field of thought. For example, we are here talking philosophy. This is a field. So we're talking about various ideas. Now, if you're able to keep your mind here and not let it slip into any other field of thought, it could be your home, it could be what you plan to do after this event, it could be anything. It could be what are you planning to do tomorrow, or something else other than the class that is going on here. See, if you are able to keep your mind here, and what will help you do that is your intellect. Your intellect will make sure that the mind stays here in a field of thoughts, which is the Bhagavad Gita, or the philosophical thoughts that we are exchanging. If you're able to maintain it for the hour and 15 minutes that we sit here, you've got concentration. But let's say you're not able to do that. It's like you're taking aim and you're not able to hit the target. If you're not able to hit the target, how can you qualify to hit bullseye? This is the point. So you must keep training and training and training till you come to a point where you take aim and hit bullseye. So first of all, you've got to develop concentration. And that comes when your desires are reduced sufficiently. Why so? Because it is these desires that take you away. You remember we talked about 2 qualities of the mind? Does anybody remember? 2 qualities of the mind. Astira, chanchala. That's why it's compared to a monkey. The mind is compared to a monkey because a monkey has these 2 qualities. It can't remain in a place. It must travel somewhere. So what makes your mind leave this classroom? Desires. Some desire. Whatever the desire is. Is everybody safe at home? Did I keep my keys? Where are the keys? Suddenly the thought will go. Even as I'm saying, you may be distracted. You never thought of the keys, you'll start thinking of the keys. It's the nature of the mind. It doesn't stay in a place. The intellect may say, I am not going to get up from my seat now, so let me not think about it. After the class, I'll think about anything. That is discipline, bringing it back. So, initially, you need to gain concentration, which is the intellect keeping the mind in a field of inquiry. And if you're successful in that and continue your disciplines, the disciplines don't stop. Karma, bhakti, jnana, that goes on till you hit the 100th mark. All the 3 disciplines go on. Then you come to a point where you have offloaded most of your desires, except for a few. I must get to the self. I've got to find the truth. What is this reality? That's all your interest. The world can offer you name, fame, money, position, status, anything. It doesn't attract you. You may have it, but you have no value for it. So that is a state where your desires are very, very few in number. And then you qualify to sit in the seat of meditation where your posture is correct. We finished all that part where your posture is perfect. You sit in a posture that's most comfortable, in a seat that is most comfortable. so that there are no disturbances. You can't afford any disturbance. And then the mind starts chanting the mantra, repeating the mantra. It could be Om, 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 Om. So this is a flow of thought. That is the mind. The mind is a flow of thought. It's repeating the mantra. The intellect is conscious of the flow. What is it conscious of? It's conscious of two things. Because that is the duty, that's the job of the intellect. It discriminates right from wrong, good from bad. That's the job of the intellect. So what is the work it is doing now? It is able to discriminate between sound, Om, followed by silence. It comes very quickly, but when you complete Om, there is silence. And then you say Om again. So there is sound, silence, sound, silence, sound, silence. This is going on in meditation. And when you come to a point, the peak of meditation, you stop the chant. Now when you stop the chant, the mind is extinct. There are no thoughts. The flow stops. When the mind is extinct, the intellect has nothing to discriminate between. And the experience is silence. Meaning you merge with the silence. You merge with the truth. You become the truth. Because when the last thought is gone, there's nothing more to think about. The mind loses its capacity. The intellect has nothing to do thereafter, meaning the mind and intellect are dissolved. When the mind and intellect are dissolved, you merge into your own self. That is how, through meditation, you reach yourself. Is that okay? So, this was the portion we meant to do today, and I'm glad somebody asked that question. Now, what you need to understand is, so long as you have not reached the self, you've not realized the self, you have a personality and individuality, which you see now. And you will continue this journey of seeking the self. We've already told the coil spring. You cannot stop because you are meant to find the self. That's why you're a human being. You're not an animal, you're not a plant, you're a human. Because only a human has the capacity to find one's own self. It works like a river. A river has a character. So you say, this is the Nile, this is the Amazon, this is the Ganges. Each river has a distinct character, distinct nature. But the destination of all rivers is one, and that is the ocean. It will not stop until it hits the ocean. Now it has a choice. It can take a straight path to the ocean or a long and winding path, but it must reach the ocean. It will not stop till it gets there. That's what you need to understand. So the destination of every river is the ocean. It will go on flowing, flowing, flowing until it reaches the ocean. Similarly, the destination, the goal of every human, whether you're conscious or unconscious of it, whether you do it directly or indirectly, whatever be the method, you will not stop. No human can stop until they reach their own self. That is your destination. Now, once the river reaches its destination, the river has its own character. Each river is different from the other, very distinct and different. But they all are moving towards the ocean. Once the river reaches the ocean, thereafter it becomes one vast sheet of water. You can't identify the Nile or the Amazon or the Ganges or any river because it has attained its original state, a vast sheet of water. Similarly, these masters, whether it was Christ or Krishna or Muhammad or Buddha, Mahavira, all these great souls, they had an individuality, but that individuality merged with the totality. So they had no other identity. We have given them different names. We recognize them as different people. But they reached that original state. Their individuality merged with the totality. And that's why when any master uses the first person singular, I, me, he means the truth, he means the self, he means the totality. So get to the truth. When he says, come unto me, he means come unto the truth. That is where you belong. You don't belong here. It's a temporary sojourn you have. But we get involved in it. We forget what our goal is. So we take a long and winding path and we go over it again and again, aimlessly. So those who understand there is a great purpose, a great opportunity called life, to find yourself, you will set the direction, and in time you will reach your goal. So that's where we ended yesterday, and today we'll start with 28.
युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शः अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते.
Thus constantly practicing union with the self, the yogi, that's how he started the journey, freed from sin. Sin, I did say yesterday, in the context, it means mental agitations caused by unfulfilled desires. So sin is not in the action. See, what is right for you may be wrong for me. What is right for me may be wrong for you. So who's to decide what is sinful, what is not? You have to decide for yourself. When you perform an action and it comes back and agitates you, then you have committed sin. See, a lot of people ask that question, should we become vegetarians? No, it's up to you. It's your life. There are people who can eat meat and it doesn't bother them. There is no mental agitation. See, tiger and tigress will not sit and discuss, what is this life? We are constantly killing. Huh? What a terrible life. No tiger, tigress will have that conversation because it's normal. They don't feel any sort of mental agitation. So if you don't feel a mental agitation, as far as you are concerned, you have not committed sin. There's no mental agitation. So sin is not in the action, but in the reaction. And that's why Shakespeare says, to thine own self be true. The only way to find out is you've got to be honest to yourself. And it must follow as night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. You must follow as night the day. Consistently be truthful to yourself. You don't have to announce it to anybody, but are you honest to yourself? Because you know what are your weaknesses. You know what are your strengths. And if you are honest to yourself, you will be free from mental agitations, provided you have offloaded your desires. So that is why the 3 paths lead you to a point where you have reduced your desires. You're continually reducing desires through the disciplines. And that will bring you this freedom from mental agitation. So he's free from mental agitations, and such a person, sitting in the seat of meditation as we just described, easily attains infinite bliss of contact with Brahman. So that bliss which we are talking about is regaining your original state. Remember yesterday we talked about health? Health is your original physical stature. And so long as you're not in health, you will be agitated. Your body will revolt. It will ask to be set back. You cannot relax when you're not well. You have to attend to whatever problems you have because it's not your natural state. So when you get back to your natural state, how do you feel? Just normal. When you're healthy, you feel normal. Similarly, with this bliss that we're talking about, this infinite bliss when you reach, what happens? You're just normal. The other way is what you have to be concerned about. How much of negativity can you take? How much of anger, hatred, jealousy, greed? These are all negative emotions. If you do not have a state, enjoy a state of bliss, peace, joy, contentment, it's not natural. So here is a person who's gone all the way and hit the natural state, which is infinite peace and bliss. And he continues.
Sarvabhutasthamaatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha sarvabhutasthamaatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha.
United to the self by yoga, he sees the self in all beings and all beings in the self. He sees the same everywhere. So now he's talking about the nature and conduct of an enlightened person. What is the test? What is the sign? What is the yardstick of your own evolution? How do you know you're evolving spiritually? You're moving in the right direction. Because a lot of people take up spiritual practices, but how do you know you're on the right track? So this is a sign. What is the sign? United to the self by yoga. I've already explained, I think you should remember this. When we talk about yoga, it is a method by which you get back to your original state. It doesn't mean breathing techniques and yoga asanas. It's one small aspect of yoga. But when you hear the word yoga in Sanskrit, religion in English, it only means any method you use to get back to your original state is yoga. So you are evolving. You're using your physical body, your mind, your intellect, not to get involved in the world, but to pull yourself out of your infatuation, attraction for the world of things and beings, understanding nothing in this world is permanent. Everything that you have in this world has a shelf life. Be it your health, your wealth, the loved ones that you have around you, the honor, the dishonor, anything, all have a temporary value. So if you understand that and pursue the truth, then you begin to gain these traits. And what is it? What is the test? Ikshate, sees. What? The self everywhere. See, there are two ways you can look at the world. One is everything is separate. People are distinct and different from one another. You could see it that way. Or you could see there is one unifying principle which brings us all together. And that unifying principle is the truth. I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying. You may say, how is it possible? How do you say this? How can you say, the good is good, bad is bad? How can you see the difference? How can you not see the difference? It's not that everything merges into one amalgamation. It's not that. Of course you see the good, you see the bad. You see that very clearly. But even when you see the bad, how do you feel? Morris Maeterlinck tells us that. See, there will be evil. there will be wickedness. Let's be practical. There are things happening. You open the newspaper, you read all kinds of atrocities being committed. Now, how do you react to all that? He says, happy and blessed hour when wickedness stands forth revealed as goodness bereft of its guide. So that's how you react internally. Externally, if you say, I need to take action, this must be corrected, this must be stopped, by all means do it. But not with anger, hatred. Because when you have anger, hatred, negative emotions, you can never be right. Why so? Because when you have negative emotions, your mind is agitated. You're very furious, you're very angry at something that is bad. So you're right. But why must you be angry? You just take a course of action with this attitude that a person who has committed the worst of crimes is actually a good person without a guide. Unfortunately, he's not been given the right values right from childhood, not exposed to it. That's why he's in this condition. And then do what? Do what you have to do. So that will help you see that oneness everywhere. Because there's no agitation, there's no anger, nothing negative happening within you. So he says that is a sign of development. Just as, remember yesterday we said you go to the baby class, little children, tiny tots, doing all sorts of things. One person will go and pinch the other fellow. One person pulls the hair and takes away the biscuit. All sorts of things happening in the baby class. You say, such rascals they are. You know, that fellow, you must hold this fellow. He's always making the other chap cry. That's how you look at it. But not with anger, not with hatred. What sort of child is this? Segregate this child. That's not what you would do. But you have a beautiful understanding because you'll say they're all little babies. They're all children. They're innocent. They're innocent. Imagine if you have that attitude with reference to grown-ups, adults. Now that will come when you have grown in stature, when you have evolved far beyond an average adult. And that comes from spiritual evolution. So he says, he sees the self in all beings and all beings in the self. He sees the same everywhere.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mahi pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mahi pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati.
He who sees me everywhere and sees all in me, I am not lost to him, nor is he lost to me. So he's continuing the same state. What is that state? What level do you reach when you have the highest knowledge? So he says, he who sees me, capital M. I've already explained to you if when a realized soul uses the first person singular, he means the truth. You can well cancel the word me and put there truth reality and read it again. He who sees the truth everywhere and sees all in the truth, the reality, I am not. The truth is not lost to him, nor is he lost to the truth. Meaning they merge, like the river merging with the ocean. Both are not lost to the other. So when the river merges with the ocean, it becomes one vast sheet of water. Similarly, a sadhak, a seeker who is going on this path to realize his own self, he says he sees the truth everywhere. Sees what a fantastic play of this truth, the Maya. Like, I was about to say that, I was about to share that with you. How do you visualize this? See, when you sit on the shore and watch the waves, you could get involved with the play of waves, which is just on the surface. All the waves that you see, the big, the small, the very fast-moving waves, the slow, gentle waves, different qualities of waves you see, but it's all on the surface. Deep, deep below is the quiet water of the ocean. Now, what's interesting is, when a wave comes up, where does the wave come from? How is it born? How is a wave born? Where does it come from? You don't know? From the ocean. Simple. The wave comes not from anywhere else. It's born of the ocean. When the wave exists, it is because of the support of the ocean. When the wave dies, it goes back into the ocean. A wave has no existence apart from the ocean. Are you okay with that? Similarly, if you're able to accept this, which is so clear, so when a wave is born, you don't say the ocean is born. The wave is born because of the ocean. In fact, the wave is nothing but the ocean, meaning it is nothing but water and water alone, nothing else. It assumes an individuality. So one wave will say, I am a big wave. You are a small wave. I'm a smart wave. You're a dull wave. Each wave has an individuality, not realizing that all waves are nothing but water, water, nothing but water. So one who can perceive through the differences in the play of waves and see water, he sees. That's what he's saying here. When an individual is born, it is nothing but the self, assuming an individuality because of ignorance of self. So the wave that assumes an individuality doesn't realize it's water, and that the other wave is also water. Unnecessarily, we've got caught up in this individuality and forgotten our original nature. So that's what he's saying. He who sees me everywhere and sees all in me, it is the same self, it is the same truth, it is the same reality that goes through each one of us. But because we have lost cognition of our original state, we assume an individuality and believe this is me. If we were to only analyze the personality, no aspect of your personality is the reality. Because reality means that which persists. What is truth? Truth cannot change. Truth, reality, is that which existed in the past, the same in the past, the same now, and it will continue to be the same in the future. That is the definition of truth. Truth doesn't alter. Do you understand that? The truth doesn't alter. It persists. So if you look at your own personality, what is the truth about you? You will say, starting with, this is me. What? This height, this weight, this person. You're talking about your body? Body is the truth? The body you have now is not the body you had in the past, is not the body you will have in the future. The body fails the test of truth, reality. Of course, there's something within me. What is that something within you, which you claim as yourself? Your thoughts and your feelings, mind and intellect. That's what is within you, within the body. So is that real? The feelings you have now are not the feelings you had in the past, are not the feelings you would perhaps have in the future. They are all subject to change. The changing, it's constantly changing. It cannot be the truth. Your thoughts have changed from the past. It's become something else now, and it is subject to change in the future. So if you look carefully at all aspects of your personality, None of them stand the test of truth. But there is something constant. I am, I am, I am. That is constant. When Moses went up to the mount and received the 10 commandments, he spoke to the voice that gave the commandments. I shall take these commandments to the people, but who should I say gave me these commandments? The voice replied, the voice of God, Jehovah replied, tell them, I am that I am. You can go and check it. Tell them, I am that I am. That amness, that isness is the truth. So you say, I am a child, when you were a child. Then you said, I am a youth, when you grew up. Later, I am an adult. Now, much later, I am an old person. Now, please understand, the child is not the youth, is not the adult, is not the old person, because the body, mind, intellect have all changed. But the I am, I am, I am, I am continues. That never changes. Now you believe I am the body, mind and intellect, but that I, you are not able to identify with. The wave doesn't understand what it is constituted of is water and not its bigness or smallness, not its power or lack of power, not its speed or lack of speed. That is not its nature. These are all changeable. But what is not changeable is water. But since the focus is on the external aspect, it misses its real nature. How does that happen? Very simple exercise. If you keep your finger near one eye and close the other eye. Now when I tell you all this, please don't go home and do these things. They'll get worried. They say, what happened? Sit like this. So these are all examples for you to think, right? If you keep your finger close to the eye, you can do one of two. If I look at the finger, you're all out of focus. If I look at you all, the finger's out of focus. Please don't try it now, but you can try it anytime. It's true. So when your focus of attention is upon the physical body, mind and intellect, the self is out of focus. When you learn to focus on the truth, the reality, it's not that you're blind, you don't see the world. That is out of focus. It is not so important to you. This is what you have to learn. In and through your duties and obligations, your functions in the world, if you are able to x-ray through all that and hold on to yourself, the God principle in you, slowly as you think, so you will become. You are on the path that will take you to the highest truth. So then you say, I am not lost to him, nor is he lost to me. Next.
Sarvabhutasthhitam yo mam bhajatyekatvamasthitah sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mayi vartate. Sarvabhutasthhitam yo mam bhajatyekatvamasthitah sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mayi vartate.
He who, established in oneness, worships me, abiding in all beings, that yogi dwells in me, whatever be his mode of living. So you're not asked, what do you do? Business, profession? Are you in an ashram? Are you in doing your own, activities in the world? You're not asked, what is your address? What is your vocation? Again, Shankara in the Bhajya Govindam, he says, Yogaratova, Bhogaratova, Sangaratova, Sangavihina. It doesn't matter whether you're in yoga or in bhoga. Meaning, in spiritual life or in the world. It doesn't matter. Sangaratova, Sangavihina. Whether you are in company, in the world, in the midst of the din and roar of the marketplace, or Sangavihina, in some ashram, in the Himalayas, in some cave, it doesn't matter. All these things don't matter. But where are your thoughts? Where are your thoughts? What are your values? What do you value most? That makes all the difference. So he says, when he who, yaha, you remember I told you throughout the Gita you will find certain words, yada, tada, yaha, yaha. You're not asked who you are. Have you read the Gita? Have you not read the Gita? Are you qualified? Nothing, no questions asked. If you follow these principles, whoever you are, you will get there. So it's a universal philosophy meant for all humans all over the world. Anyone who wants to find the truth. So he says, he who established in this oneness, you can't get there unless you're able to see that oneness everywhere, worships me, meaning it is a full-time awareness of truth. It's not part-time. You can't say, I go to church Sunday morning or temple Friday evening. Or I worship in the morning only. Every day I do puja. And rest of the day, what are you doing? Opposite of puja. It is like a person salutes the national flag. Because if you salute the national flag, you respect the nation. You care for the nation. And then after saluting the national flag, he's selling all the plans to the enemies. He's doing anti-national activities whole day. But morning, evening, saluting the flag. It doesn't make any sense. You don't have to salute the flag because that's not what you're doing the rest of the day. So it doesn't really matter how much of the time you worship. It matters what are you doing the rest of the time. You may not go to a temple or a church or a mosque, but if you genuinely follow these principles, that's what he means by worship. It is full-time awareness of the truth and directing all your activities to gaining that, abiding in all beings, worship me, abiding in all beings. That yogi dwells in me. Dwells in me, meaning the river is merging with the ocean. In that sense, whatever be the mode of living. You can be a teacher or a butcher, it doesn't matter. But where are your thoughts? What are your values? That determines your spiritual status.
Atmaupam yena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo matah. Atmaupam yena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo matah.
He who, through the likeness of the self, O Arjuna, sees equality everywhere, through joy and sorrow, he is considered a supreme yogi. So I don't know if you're following the trend. First of all, he says, yaha, 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 whoever he be. And then you've got to see that oneness. You've got to see water, not the waves. Waves is just on the surface, like a goldsmith. You know, particularly Indian weddings, they take a goldsmith with them when they buy jewelry. Because the ladies are all fascinated by the various ornaments, their necklaces, their bangles, their earrings, different shapes, sizes, a different combination. They're so fascinated by all that, and they're picking and choosing. Oh, this is very nice. How does this look? How does that look? The goldsmith is not interested in all those shapes and sizes and attractions. He is only checking, is it 24 karat gold? Is it genuine gold? Because after selection, the ladies will ask, can we buy this? He say, no, this is not enough. Why? Because he is only attuned to gold. When you are not attuned to gold, you fall for the shape, size attractions. The goldsmith is not enamored. He is not attracted. Why? He's got a single pointed focus. He sees only gold, gold, gold. Nothing else. That is the vision that he's talking about. Otherwise, you don't understand. How can you have that vision? How can you see the self in that lady, that mother-in-law? Rakshasi she is. She's ruined my life. She's ruined everybody's life. How can you say that? Same self. Same self. In the greatest of saints, in the worst of sinners. It's the same. It is how you use your body. You use your body, mind and intellect negatively. Say, remember we talked about petrol in a car? Don't say that was yesterday, we forgot. You've got to remember a few examples. It will help you. So, a car can meet with an accident. A car can take you home safe. You can't hold petrol responsible for either. But without petrol, neither could an accident take place nor the safe driving home, because there won't be any movement. So all movement in all vehicles is because of petrol, but the quality of movement is not because of petrol. In that sense, if you have that vision to see petrol is the same in every car, one car is met with an accident, that is not the fault of petrol. So where is your focus? Is it on that which makes the car move or the movement of the car? So where is your focus? Is it on people who are right and wrong, good and bad? Is that where your focus is? Or what makes anybody to be what he is, she is? That something beyond the body, mind and intellect is your real self. And that self is right within you. So he says, he who through the likeness of the self is able to see that self, O Arjuna, sees equality everywhere through joy and sorrow, through all experiences. He's just saying joy and sorrow, but every experience is different. But you're able to see there is something beyond these experiences which is the truth. That person is considered a supreme yogi. Now we get on to the next topic. Can a restless mind be controlled?
Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram.
Arjuna said, this yoga of equanimity taught by you, O Madhusudana, O Krishna, I do not see its enduring stability owing to restlessness. So he says, chanchalatvat. We talked about the mind having these two qualities, astira, chanchala. This is the nature of the mind. Now, how can such a mind, which is astira and chanchala, because of that reason, experience sthitim, sthiram, enduring stability? See, you may be quiet for a little while, but can't be all the time quiet. Something will bother you, then you start functioning, again you become quiet, again you get agitated. This fluctuations continue. How can this mind that is so unstable become stable? Krishna is Arjuna's question, and he continues.
Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram.
The mind, verily, O Krishna, is restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate. I consider it as difficult to control as the wind. So here the comparison is between wind and mind. So what are the few qualities of the wind that is compared to the mind? Chanchalam. Chanchalam means restless, going about in different directions, like the wind. The wind travels in all directions. So does the mind because of desires and demands. Then pramati. Pramati means turbulent. It churns. The mind is full of passions, which lead you people to do some terrible actions because of the passion, that tremendous desire to do something, and becomes even violent. People commit crimes. Why is it? It's the same mind that is directing. So when the mind is churning, is passionate, is full of desires, it can lead you to do anything. Like the wind, becomes turbulent. It's balavat, strong, very powerful is the mind. See, the mind can be used to control a mob, can change the thought of a mob. One person's influence, like the famous Mark Antony speech, when Julius Caesar was assassinated, and all of them were against Julius Caesar. It's a famous portion of Julius Caesar, Shakespeare. He turned the mob, which was against Julius Caesar, for Caesar. And at the end of that famous speech, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. And it's a long speech. In fact, it is in the book, Select English Poems. That portion is taken up in the book. So if those who are interested can read that. Now what is interesting is, he says all that he has to say and slowly converts the mind of the mob in favor of Julius Caesar. And then at the end of it, he soliloquizes and says, mischief thou art afoot, take thou what course thou wilt. He has set the mischief. He has set the whole mob to think differently. Sheer control of the mind. That is the power of the mind. A whole mob you can convert. You can influence a whole nation. We were under British rule. But few people thought, and one man particularly, could take the whole nation to freedom. How is that possible? Because he can control the whole mind of the nation. That is the power of the mind, so strong. Balavat, dridam, obstinate, unyielding. It can become obstinate. Even if you give reason, the mind will not react because it has a tendency to be obstinate. Just as the wind will keep on blowing in one direction. Even if there's an obstacle, it will not move. It will go on blowing in the same direction. It won't say, okay, there's an obstacle here, let me go somewhere else. Keep on. That is the nature of the mind. So Arjuna is only telling Krishna, the mind is restless, turbulent, strong, obstinate. What chances do we have to control it? This is the question, and he continues.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Shri Bhagavanuvacha asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate.
The blessed Lord said, doubtless, the mind is restless and difficult to conquer, O Mahabaho, but that's how you got to read it. But it can be controlled by practice and dispassion, O Kaunteya. See, this is a lot of psychology here. Remember in the beginning, we said 1 chapter and 10 verses. Krishna did not speak a word. In fact, we lost 1 chapter of the Gita because Arjuna kept talking. But Krishna didn't say a word. He waited for him to offload and offload. You say what you want. He's just listening. It's like when you go to a doctor. Doctor, I've got this pain. Doctor, when I ate that, this happened. Doctor, this, doctor, that. He's just waiting for you to finish because he already knows what's your problem. Because of his knowledge. He knows his knowledge. But he has to give you, you're paying him for time to listen to you. Medicine takes 2 minutes. But how much you need to offload? But doctor, I forgot to tell you that this also, this problem also I had. The TK. All that will be taken. Don't worry. Just follow this prescription. Krishna knew exactly what was going on, but he has to wait for Arjuna to offload. It's a very important psychology that he is giving here. Asamshayam, undoubtedly. Arjuna does not know what he is talking, and egoistically he is talking. I don't see how it is possible. See, when you go to a master, you ask him, how do we do this? But not what you know. See, we go to a master and show our knowledge, which is no knowledge. And a true master keeps quiet, because he understands. There's absolutely no meaning in whatever you're saying. So the same thing here. He agrees with Arjuna, meaning you win half the battle when you agree with a person. This is true of any relationship. See, in relationships, when there's confrontation, you, however right you are, if you say, sorry, I beg to differ. What do you mean you beg to differ? I also differ. Both differ. Nobody understands each other. Because there's a confrontation, there's a friction. Just keep quiet. Let that person say what he wants. But he's talking rubbish. So you know he's talking rubbish. Keep quiet. Why do you have to contribute? But you will argue, and he will argue, and both will argue. In any discussion, there is more heat than light. Both are in the darkness. But there's more heat, meaning there's argument, confrontation. So here, there's a beautiful psychological impact here made when Krishna agrees. He says, yes, you're right. It is very difficult and to control this restless mind. But then he exposes his limitation in such a way that Arjuna himself doesn't realize what he's saying. In other words, he's saying, but, oh fool, idiot. He can't say that. But he means that because you don't understand the truths. What is it? It can be controlled by abhyasa. Abhyasa, the practice of the 3 disciplines, karma, bhakti, jnana. That is the abhyasa. And you develop dispassion, meaning you have a right sense of value. Dispassion for things that have no value, and you take up to higher values. By that method, the mind can be controlled.
असंयतात्मना योगः दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वश्यात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुमुपायतः असंयतात्मना योगः दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वश्यात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुमुपायतः.
Yoga, I think, is hard to attain by one who is uncontrolled, but it can be attained by one who is controlled by means of striving. So the key word in this verse is strive. In fact, in the Vedanta treatise, I've talked to you, I talked to you about the books, the 4 books in which order to study. Anybody is interested, you've got to start with the fall of the human intellect because it makes you aware of this great equipment that you have unused, the intellect. Because if you're using the intellect, you will never have a single problem in the world, no matter what your challenges are, if you use the intellect. But the problem is we are not, therefore we face problems. So you read that, and then you get on to Holocaust of Attachment, where he talks about the deadly nature of the mind. It's like an epidemic that is destroying the peace of mankind. So a book telling you that so that you don't fall a prey. And then you attend to your business and relationships. Governing Business and Relationships is the next book. And when you are thus prepared, you get into the mainstream Vedanta treatise, the eternities, which starts with what is Vedanta, why do you need Vedanta, what is the scope of this knowledge, and then it takes you all the way through the book to the ultimate truth reality. Now in that book, he says, To strive, struggle, and not to succeed should be the motto of your life. To strive, to struggle, and not to succeed. Now you may say, if we strive and struggle, how can we not succeed? He says, you got to learn to do things which are beneficial for you. Not worry about the results. I think it was Thomas Huxley, I'll look for it, where he says, it is one of the most difficult to do what you ought to do. That's it. And enjoy doing that. It is perhaps the first lesson you will ever learn in life, and the last that you will perfect. Just to strive, just to struggle, just keep doing the right thing. It's such a joy in life. We don't know the beauty of life because we have not learned to strive. The key word here is by means of striving. So, could you put that for us? Perhaps the most valuable result of all education is the ability to make yourself to do the thing you have to do when it ought to be done, whether you like it or not. It is the first lesson that ought to be learned, and however early a person's training begins, it is probably the last lesson a person learns thoroughly. Thomas Huxley. You get the picture? See, just to do what you ought to do. That is the striving he's talking about. If you know there is a truth, if you know you have three equipments of physical body, mind, and intellect, which is quite clear, and that you can use these equipments to get to the truth, and then get on to the path, start functioning. That's all you need to do. What have I got to do at the physical level? How do I perform karma yoga? What do I have to do at the mental level? How do I take on to bhakti yoga? How do I take on to jnana yoga? And keep on striving. It's like you want to travel from, where are we? We are in Mumbai. Mumbai to Pune. All right. You want to go there. That's your destination. What do? Get onto the road. And as you get onto the road, there will be signposts telling you, this is the way to go, take the next left, go on to this path. You keep following and keep moving. How will you not reach your destination? You will reach your destination. But you must keep moving. That's the point. You have to keep striving. If you do so, you get to your destination.
Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayopetāh yogācalita mānasaḥ aprāpya yoga samsiddhim kāṃ gatim Krishna gacchati. Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayopetāh yogācalita mānasaḥ aprāpya yoga samsiddhim kāṃ gatim Krishna gacchati.
Arjuna said, the uncontrolled who possesses shraddha, faith, whose mind wanders away from yoga, failing to attain perfection in yoga, what end, O Krishna, does he meet? So this is typical of a person who has a utility tag. I'm coming for Gita class, but how will it benefit me? I'm taking philosophy. How will it benefit me? See, it is an attitude. If you understand this is giving you the truths of life, whether it benefits you or not, do the right thing. That's what Thomas Huxley is saying. Just to do the right thing when it ought to be done, whether you like it or not. If you maintain that, your life is made. But here he's got a utility tag. How will it benefit? What if a person who's a seeker, he possesses shraddha, I'll explain what shraddha is, but whose mind wanders away from yoga. He started the process, but somewhere down the line, he did not reach his destination. Failing to attain perfection, the highest, what end will he meet? Where will he go? What will happen to him? So it's a typical seeker's doubt. See, you have a path, but you don't know if it will take you to the truth. You're not sure. But all that he's saying, what Krishna is saying is, listen, you want to go to America? Yes. What you do is, go buy a ticket, okay? And then on the day of travel, go to the airport. When you go to the airport, go to the counter, check in. They'll give you a boarding pass. Then you go to the gate. You pass your immigration. You do whatever you have to do. And then you go to the gate, assigned gate. And when they announce at the gate, go into the aircraft, sit down. Then what do? Relax. Watch a movie, drink some whatever they offer. Thereafter, you really don't know. Your point is, if you're flying for the first time, how do I know the pilot is taking me to my destination? There are no roads to say you're going this way, this many miles left, that many. You're completely at the mercy of the pilot. You have no clue where the aircraft is going. Do you realize that? There is nothing, no reference whatsoever. But you have done all that it takes to go to America. What a long distance, 16-hour flight, 17-hour flight. You have no clue, but you can be sure you will be reaching New York. You can be 100% sure. So if somebody who's flying for the first time is worried, don't relax, eat properly, sleep. You will give that confidence. You know the path? I also don't know the path, but definitely it will go. How can you say that? That person will wonder, are you mad? You don't even know where the pilot is going. You can't see anything. It's pitch dark. And you're saying it will land. What confidence do you have? How can you explain this? All that he's saying, do everything you know that it takes to sit in that aircraft. Thereafter, wait. It's a question of time. Don't keep looking. Don't keep asking the hostess, are you sure we are going to New York? Maybe he's going to some other place. No, relax. Everything's fine. She'll only try to say, what? Some sort of crack fellow sitting here. It will be laughed at. But you have a genuine, this is Arjuna's doubt. This is Arjuna's question. What will happen to this person? Whether if he doesn't reach his destination, Krishna keeps on telling him, you do all that it takes and strive and strive. Everything that it takes. It's a question of time. There's an interim period between where you are and where you need to be. Don't rush it. Don't fix a time and say, I should get it now. You can't fix a time. All that you can do is fix the path and keep moving in the right direction. And there's enough yardsticks given to know whether you're on the right path. You see that oneness. You feel more and more peaceful. You remember the coiled spring we said? As you're moving towards the original state, the pressure becomes less and less. So your worries, your anxieties, your stress, your strain. See, two things happen. One is the frequency will reduce. The intensity of your agitation will also reduce. One is everything you get agitated. Frequent. That will itself reduce. The frequency of your negative feelings and emotions will reduce, and the intensity. Both will reduce, and you're on the path to the highest truth. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.